Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you can see around me, there is a lot of snow on the ground. This is the view from my backyard. Unfortunately, this is not the type of weather that I will take my Porsche 911 in. I mean, it would make for great content, but at the same time, I'm all about protecting the car and doing what's best for the vehicle. Right now, my primary mode of transportation for enthusiasm is the Porsche Cayenne S, the one with the V8 engine that came out in 2011. And the reason why that car is special is because it's the last naturally aspirated Porsche Cayenne with a V8 that makes 400 horsepower, doesn't have any turbos. You know, that's what naturally aspirated means. There's no additional add-ons into the engine that's going to either hybridize the engine or add additional forced induction into the engine. This is just a pure, very linear power delivery of an engine, and I think that's what makes this Cayenne very special. It is one of those vehicles that I think through the test of time as we move towards electric, it's one of the vehicles that's going to stand the test of time, and I think it's going to be one of those vehicles that's going to be special down the line. I think it's one of those cars that we just love and we appreciate. All right, so with the Porsche Cayenne S, this is a fantastic vehicle. I've been daily driving this vehicle for the last for the last 4 weeks, and it's been treating me extremely well. And considering that, you know, I did all the proprietary steps of like getting a pre-purchase inspection, having the car fully sorted, requesting all the service history, doing everything that I needed to do in order to make this car 100% daily livable. I think I took all the necessary steps in order to take it to the point where I needed the car to perform as my everyday vehicle. I mean, that's essentially what these things were designed for. At a time when Porsche noticed that their clients who were buying 911s and Boxsters and Caymans, they noticed that the other car that they had in their garage was something like, you know, the ML class Mercedes or like the BMW X5 or perhaps a Range Rover. They knew that they were missing out on a market segment, and they're like, you know what? After extensive research, why don't we produce our own SUV? We know how to make a V6, we know how to make a V8 in the front. We know how to do these things because Mercedes, they trusted us with making the 500e. So we're a car maker, we know how to manufacture things, and we've studied from our competitors in Stuttgart. And yeah, let's make this happen and, you know, steal some of that market share. And that's essentially what Porsche did, and it saved their company because the SUV marks a big part of their market share, and Porsche has certainly done that because this car as a whole has been very successful for the brand, and it allows them the type of income to produce things like the 918 Spyder or perhaps a Carrera GT. It gives them the money to go racing, whereas like they're not struggling and, you know, perhaps trying to get money from here and there and, like, you know, take excess work or, you know, take borrowed work from Mercedes in order to help the company stay afloat. Oh, we have a few friendly visitors. I could hear them in the background. Perhaps you didn't, but this guy, you know, I'm going to turn this into a nature channel. But nonetheless, back to Big Bird, because there's some big birds over here and we have a big bird right over here. I was considering that as a vanity plate, but having a yellow license plate on a yellow car, and they don't make this yellow license plate anymore, it's kind of hard to step away from it because it's such a good color. It's such a good color combination. So I think I'm going to stick with it for the most part. But, you know, when the car's not idling, the only major change that I made to this car, because I've kept this car fairly stock, I haven't had to do anything to it because Porsche just builds a really good product out of the gate. The only thing that I did, because it didn't have a very loud exhaust, I wanted to bring that V8 to life. And the only way to bring that V8 to life was to get what Champion Motorsports and what Sharkworks offer, in period, was a 2B exhaust. And if you notice the piping, everything is Porsche original. But those pipes, those quad tips, they come from the Cayenne GTS, which was offered in 2013, as well as the Cayenne Turbo, which was also offered around this period. But the GTS was not offered during this time period, and there was no sport exhaust option. I mean, there was, but it wasn't as loud as the car is right here. And I wanted to bring that V8 to life because it was the last naturally aspirated V8 that was ever offered on the Cayenne. I mean, the V8 is now back, but it's got twin turbos. It makes 470 horsepower, which is more than enough. And I live here in New York City. This is a New York City park. Yes, we do have park space in New York City for those of you who are not from here. And the thing is, we have the last naturally aspirated car that makes 400 horsepower. I don't need anything more than 400 horsepower. If any of you who've been to the channel, my very first video was me stick shifting a Cayenne manual with a V6 that only made 240 horsepower. And for me, that was more than enough power, especially as I was merging onto the highway. That's the Cross Island Parkway in the distance. Some traffic. And yeah, like for me, I think that this is the car that just does everything well. It makes all the right noises. It gets me, it's like a proper GT car. I feel like this car is an evolution of the Porsche 928. You have that big 4.8 liter V8 in the front, and power is delivered to all four wheels. That's gonna be the only difference. But this is like a big GT car that I could take to Pittsburgh to go see my sister. I could take this to Florida to go see my parents, and I'm gonna get there in comfort. Whereas the 911 is really for my sporting excursions. Oh, we have two cardinals. There we go. All the birds are coming to they see Big Bird and they want to play. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on this car. I'm having a good time with this car. It's one of the better cars that I've owned. I mean, I really loved my first Cayenne, but I had to spin the block and get another one because the Cayenne is such a good vehicle, and I really enjoy having this car because it just does things right. It delivers me in comfort. It's a little bit more comfortable than the C300 because the C300 was just not big enough. I love the C300. I had it for 3 years, but this car this is more my personality. It's a bigger car. It's easier to get in and out. And, you know, when I'm squatting into the 911, it's different because that's a totally different driving experience. That's a sporting experience. This is more of an experience where I can just get in and out of the car, have fun with it. It's the last naturally aspirated V8. I love bringing up that point, and I had to bring that V8 into a full sound. Like, I had to bring that V8 to life, and that's the only reason I did the tube exhaust. I'm gonna see how I live with it for an entire year. But, you know, this is a car that I really enjoy having. Big shout out to Porsche Brooklyn.